Welcome to MaximumLibertarian.com. I'm Brian. If you will, first, let's go to MaximumLibertarian.com. That's where you can find out all the ways you can help us out. We need to grow this channel, we need to grow this podcast, and we need your help to do that. So please go to MaximumLibertarian.com, and that's how you'll see all the things that we'll be doing and how you can help us out. Okay, also October 20th at 6:15 p.m. odd time, I understand, but we got some things going on that day. So 6:15 on October 20th, we will be joined by the Star Voting Systems Anna Kelling. She will be talking about it. If you like ranked choice voting, I think you will like the Star voting a little bit better, because she won me over the last time she spoke to us, and I asked her if she would come back on so I could record it and get it out to the masses. If you go to equal.vote, you can find out more about it. It's the Star voting system. That's October 20th, 6:15. And then on November 5th, day after the election, we're going to have Stephen Nikala, the LNC chair, on to talk about what's going on with the Libertarian Party. I hope to have as many people there as possible so we can get some good questions, and let's ask the current chair what's going on, how's it going, and then also we need to we can find out how our Libertarian candidates across the country did. So that's it for housekeeping. Now, today's podcast, we were joined with the LNC, which is the Libertarian National Committee's Vice Chair, Paul Darr, this past Wednesday at the Roanoke Valley Libertarian meeting. He talks about what's going on with the Libertarian Party, some of the fundraising, some ideas to help try to increase membership, and all that good stuff. Let's be honest, the LP, the Libertarian Party, is currently, we're still up against the ropes. We're being hit on by, all sides. And in reality, we could easily fix this. And that's when members get active. When you sit on the side and you say, well, I was a libertarian, but this is happening. Well, there's a lot of people that you leave behind who has to fight for that idea, and they get overwhelmed. So if you want to take the party in another direction, make it more libertarian. That's the direction I want to see it go. I don't want to see it left, and I don't want to see it right. I want to see it as a libertarian party, but what we do, we get infiltrated by either left-leaning Democrats who come into the party and they try to turn it left. We get infiltrated by right-leaning Republicans, and they come in, they want to take it over, but we have some of the best ideas out there. I'm not saying everything would be hunky-dory if it was enacted, but I would gladly take the Libertarian Party's platform over any of the other parties right now. So what I'm trying to say, get active, and so grab your beverage of choice, kick your shoes off, even if you're at work, it's okay. Sit back and let's listen to Paul Darr as he speaks about the Libertarian Party and some of the ideas that's going on right now. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Roanoke Valley Libertarians. We're online tonight because we have a special guest. We have Paul Darr. He's the LNC Vice Chair, and he's going to be just talking to us about what's going on with the LNC and some other good stuff that's happening within the Libertarian Party. Real quick, let's just go through what we've got coming up. We got on October 20th at 6:15, we've got Anna Kelling. She's from Star Voting System. You can go to equal.vote and you can learn about the Star Voting System. She's done this presentation before, but I wasn't able to record it. And It's if you like ranked choice voting, the star voting system, I think's a better system. On November 5th, 7 p.m., we've got Stephen Nikala. He's the LNC chair. He's going to be speaking with us, taking questions and answering them, I hope. Let's see. First part of the year, we've got the LPVA, Libertarian Party of Virginia State Convention. It's either January or February. I cannot remember the date. I apologize about that. And then up running now, LNC2026.com, Freedom Calls to a Bold Future in Grand Rapids, Michigan. That's where we will be having the Libertarian Party's actual national convention. It's May 21st through the 25th. Like I said, Grand Rapids, Michigan. So please start making plans. Join us. That's where you make – it's those who show up is who actually controls the party, who dictates the way it goes. And finally, if you're not a member of the LPVA, please go over to lpva.org. There you can sign up to the state, and then you can also sign up to national. We need membership. We need members. We need active members. We need new ideas, fresh ideas to help build this great party that we got. Otherwise, we're going to continue to have the Democrats and Republicans. So now what we'll do is we're going to turn it over to the LNC Vice Chair, Paul Darr, and he's going to give you a little talk afterwards. He'll answer questions if you have any. So just send them on to X, or you can send them on YouTube. We'll pull them up, and he can answer them. All right, Mr. Darr, go for it.
Awesome. Thank you very much for having me here this evening. Glad to join you all. For those that don't know me, let me give you the quick introduction. So I joined the Libertarian Party in 1998. I ran across something on this newfangled thing called the internet. Some of you might be aware of that. That was new at the time. And ran across the website for the Advocates for Self-Government and took the world's smallest political quiz there and read some great things by Dr. Mary Ruwart and some other great writers that were writing at the time. And it's like, well, I think I'm a libertarian here. Scoring at the top, the quadrant there kind of puts you in that category there. So when I turned 18 that year, I registered as a libertarian, which is odd for, somebody like me. I was already thinking of politics and stuff, even though at that time I was in foster care and growing up in the system, trying to figure out where I was going to be going in life after that. I've been a member of the Libertarian Party since then. Got really active after, like most people coming out of poverty, or some, I should say. I went and joined the military, got that free ride over to Iraq, and got to see where we were spending all our money overseas on different things over there, and came back from that experience wanting to cause change and do more work, and started volunteering with the party at that time, more locally in the counties and all that. And then it progressed to the point where I've been working in my state after I moved out here to Texas, learned how to become a Texan for a while, and got active with the party out here and been helping out the Texas party, and then moved up to national and been dealing with the heartache that national ends up being for those that don't follow all the drama that goes on there. I do not recommend working at national as much as you can. All that you guys do at your state and county is wonderful and makes you feel good and glad to be a libertarian. Most of the national stuff kind of burns my soul at times, to be honest. There's so much that's going on there. But let me talk about that. Yeah, so the party has been in. I've seen splits in the party at different times and different factions and different arguments and different things that have come up, but it's never been more at a point than it has been the past few years here. So we really need to find a way to move forward from where we are right now. So part of that is just making sure the party lives up through 2026. I was very concerned when I started getting involved in national, looking at where our funding was trending, where our activity was trending, and seeing that downward trend, and that we needed to pull out of that dive that we were entering here. So all of us working together can do that. And then we have a couple different projects that are to help us get out of where we are here. And we're resurrecting something that worked a long time ago. People say, oh, we do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. But a lot of times we do things that are good and then just drop it for one reason or another and don't actually keep up with it. One of those things was back when I came into the party, there was something called Project Archimedes, which was a big project reaching out to members and doing direct mailers out to people, out to registered libertarians and bringing them into the party. You know, just because you register to vote as a libertarian doesn't mean you're in the party, as you all know. So reaching out to people that are already libertarians and getting them libertarians in the party is actually one of our easiest sells that we can do as libertarians. Get people more involved, even if they're just donating, they're helping to the cause out there. If they're able to show up and do a little bit every once in a while, that's helping the cause and helping people not get burnt out in their different areas across the party. So the more people we can bring in the party, the better. So that had some success at that time. Direct mail was really expensive, so people were very much flinching at it at the time. And it eventually got dropped off. Direct mail is still expensive, but there's still some opportunities we found to actually use some direct mail where individuals respond well to that. You just have to know and target your audience very well. And we're actually bringing back Project Archimedes. This time around, we're going to rename it called the Parity Project, as in bringing us to parity with the other two big parties out there, and a bold plan of how to do that within a decade of time. So the person that's architecting that, Perry Wills, has that like audacious goal. You know, I love big goals like that, and I know that we can at least grow the party to where we're a real threat, and more so than ever before, to the other parties out there through this. And what they're going to be doing with that is, you know, nowadays we have the internet, we have all this data about us out there, and you know what? It's easier and cheaper to identify libertarians out in the wild than ever before. Instead of just trying to sell you crap like advertisers do, you can take that same data and say, you know, the things that they aren't looking for is independence, of personality, the different issues that are, you know, passionate for us as libertarians. And we take those items, we say, oh, that's the profile of a libertarian out there. Let's ask them to join the Libertarian Party. And there's different methods to do that nowadays that are electronic, very cheap, that we can do a whole lot of that out there. So we're getting specialists to work with us. So that is one way that is going to help us get out of where we are right now, because we're going to be bringing in registered libertarians into the party like hasn't been done in decades. This has been you know, one way of panning for gold that we had in the past, and we just haven't been doing it again. So we can't just trust on the presidential election every 4 years, hopefully bringing us in a bumper crop, as it were, of libertarians into the party and hoping it to last us 4 years. We need to be continually bringing people into the party. So what does that mean for you at your state and county level? That means as we're bringing in people into big national for the libertarian, that you'll also get that data sent to you as new members are joining, and you'll be able to reach out to those members and get them activated locally. And what does that mean for you locally is that you're going to have more libertarians to help run your campaigns out there. You're going to have more libertarians that are going to run for office out there that you can ask to run for office. This is a cycle that builds on itself. I've said that a few times. As we grow members, we'll be able to grow our candidates that are out there. We're going to be able to grow our donors that are out there. We're going to be able to grow our support for all of those people. And this is a positive cycle we're going to get into in the party. And we're going to become more successful than ever before through building this cycle. So that is something I'm very passionate about, of how we're going to get us out of the slump that we're currently in the party. And we're going to go from being down low to being bigger than we ever have been before by just modernizing, using the tools that are out there for us, and helping to build the party. Until then, I have to keep everybody trying to work together and for the party to stay together until we start reaching those goals out there. So those are some of my goals out there as I work with individuals and try to get people to work together. That, you know, I know there's hard feelings across the party, different people. It's anything from factionalism to, you know, just downright personalities get in the way in some cases. We all sometimes have a bit of pride there that'll get to us, where we get our pride hurt by somebody else. And it'll take a little bit of forgiveness sometimes to work together on some things there. So those are some of the things we're working towards going into the future. The big close things that are coming up, you've already mentioned the national convention there at LNC2026.com. So national conventions, of course, coming up in May there. For the end of the month, for people also, it's important that you get as many people within your state to become national members, because that counts towards how many delegates you get to send to the national convention. So if you want to have the opportunity to go to the national convention as a delegate, the more people you have in your state is how much it counts toward your delegate slots. So more people have the opportunity to go there. So it's highly advantageous to everybody that is not currently a member to at least give that $25 to be the minimum amount there to at least become a member again. And then that'll allow them to become, have more delegate slots, come out and be at convention. And we're trying to make convention this year, not just, I've been working with Pat Ford, and he's been looking at some of the different libertarian conventions out there. And he wants to take a little page off of them and have some involvement in some of the greater libertarian community. They'll come out and do tabling, do speaking, and things like that. So we'll have our business that'll be going on during that time, but there'll be plenty of different activities that are going on that people will be entertained by, that'll be energized by, training that'll be going on. There's going to be some great training opportunities while out there at convention too. So highly recommend getting your room already set up over there to be able to go out to convention. And if anyone wants to come out to Dallas at the beginning of December, the first week in December, the LNC is going to meet in Dallas. I'm getting the hotel set up right now. I already have my speakers for a great event out there Saturday evening on the first weekend in December. I'm going to have Dr. Mary Ruart, who has been an inspiration to me my entire time in the Libertarian Party. Is going to come out and speak, and Mike Surtek. Mary Ruart at the time will be representing Libertarians International, and Mike Surtek, the Advocates for Self-Government. So people that like to hear from those individuals will be out that evening and in Dallas. So some states that are close by to Dallas, people that are around there might be interested in making the drive out and staying over the night to hear those speakers while they're out there. Some other challenges that we're working on is, just normal, a lot of business stuff. Me as the vice chair, you'll see me running around doing a lot of different things. Whenever there's a fire in the party, I'm out there trying to put that fire out and find problems and try to just fix them. It doesn't matter whose fault a problem is, what's going on. I'm out there just trying to find the solution to make sure things are getting fixed. Because there's plenty of stuff across the party. We have great staff, but we don't have enough staff to catch everything that's out there. And so I try to catch those things and try to magnify what the staff is capable of doing by taking care of those items. Those are all the things that I was thinking off the top of my head that I wanted to start out your meeting with here. Did you have any questions to follow up with that I might not have filled in details on everything you might be interested in?
No, so far that's sounding good. I know you said the mailers and things like that. Is there going to be like any TV advertising? I know
TV advertisement's expensive, so that's not going to be a first line item there. Our first the type of electronic things we're going to be doing is more. We already have ways to get people's email, either that we already own it or that it cross references to other data. So people will be getting emails, things like that. Then there's also matching up the social media profiles. So instead of, seeing some scammy advertisement on whatever site you're going to, you'll see an advertisement for joining the Libertarian Party on there, along with a message about that'll try to draw people in. Like, say, if a person's into anti-war type things, that'll have a great topic about defending the guard, things of the topics like that, that'll bring them into the Libertarian Party.
Okay. The reason I just said the TV ad is I just always remember in '92, Ross Perot, that's how he forced his way onto the debate stage. And I know I told Spike Cohen, I was like, I would love to see us trying to push to, otherwise we're not, it's hard. They block us or they move the field goal or whatever the case, That's why I was asking about that. But I'm glad that there's ideas to do things.
Yeah, so there's some great ideas of how to do it for the best cost benefit analysis for us right now. And then as we get down the road, then we'll get into those larger broadcasting opportunities that'll be for us. But right now, that micro targeting, as some people might be familiar with the term, of being able to target into people there and to find the libertarians where they are instead of just to the general public, is where we're going to get the most bang for our buck.
Right.
So my question would be, I don't think we lost him.
No,
Okay. My question is, you said registered libertarian. Okay, registered libertarians in some states like ours in Virginia, we don't have registered libertarians. We have libertarians that are on the national, like in the national list, but we don't register political party. How would you take care of the states that do not have that register as a libertarian?
Great question. I have the same issue here in Texas. So in Texas, we don't register as libertarians. We only affiliate with the party when we show up for our conventions every year. So you know who are the activists out there, but you don't really know who else is out there. And so when we go through the registered libertarians, first we're going to reach out to some people that are on our own list. We've done some data cleanup of our own list, and we're going to find what's that profile of what a libertarian looks like according to the data. There's different fields that tell you, is this person into gun rights? What's this person's opinion on medical freedom? What's this person's opinion on war? There's a lot of different questions that there's data that's aggregated out there. So we're going to get that profile of what a libertarian looks like. We're going to be applying it to the registered libertarians. And then after that, we're going to be renting lists of data that's out there. There's L2 that a lot of people are familiar with. Some of the sort of data comes from, and other data sources that are out there. Or even organizations. If an organization wants to trade a list with us, there's opportunities to reach out to other freedom type organizations, and we'll apply that template of what a libertarian looks like that we've developed through that process to those individuals. So that's going to be that probably step 3 in this process, because we'll work on our internal list, registered, and then those individuals that aren't out there, that aren't on the list, so that we know what they look like just by knowing what libertarians are into.
Sounds good.
I have another question.
So thank you for that question. Yeah, it's a really interesting process, and for data nerds, they're going to be excited about how that works out.
So as a past chair, vice chair, and secretary in Virginia, data is important. Where are you guys with the data area, the IT area of making sure that all the states can get the same data? Because I know there's an issue out there that it's out there with the IT problem, just for knowledge.
Yeah.
I have knowledge of that there's an IT problem where certain states can't get their information. It won't update because it's not going to be compatible with some lists, and even if it's on Zoho or something of that matter. Do you have any insight on that?
We'll want to better automate it down in the future, but most any data system you have is going to be able to get a basic CSV type data list that gets exported out I believe that's every Friday now, that goes to whoever's on the distribution list for your state there, and that'll tell you who are the members from national within the state. And then you can, some people are like, it doesn't have the fields I need or this and that. You can reach out to our staff to make sure it has the fields you need already in there, and they can help make sure that report gets to you in the right way. Just don't suffer in silence of not getting the right information out there. There is one major change that is coming at the end of this month that I've been talking about for a long time that I didn't mention earlier, that CiviCRM, the ownership of national is going to end at the end of this month on CiviCRM. So we've been pushing that out to make sure the states know that's going on, and along with the email. So the states are going to be responsible for their own CRM and email going forward. Right now, looking at how many staff members I had, we just weren't able to give the support that states needed. And I spoke with members on the committee and staff, and this ended up being the best choice, that we weren't just letting states down continually, that they needed to be responsible for what they're able to do until we're back in a position that we can support the states too, along with those items. And that would be up to an LNC in the future on that. I just didn't want to leave states frozen where they can't update their websites anymore and things like that have been going on. So we've been turning over ownership to them to make sure they have control of their own data, their own website, and things of that nature there. And if they decide not to come onto a national system in the future, that'll be their decision in the future. But I just wanted to make sure those individuals had control of their own information out there. So that's what we've been going through. There's only a couple states left that have a few issues with their email not being transferred over. If you aren't sure where you are, go ahead and reach out to me. I'll get you pointed to the right people. You can always reach me at paul.darr@lp.org, and I'm glad to connect people together that are the right people to talk to.
So my last question I have in my mind is, you've become the vice chair. Steve Nicola is the chair. What are you guys doing to try to bring libertarians together? Because there is a factionalism idea where there's the right-leaning versus left-leaning, your Mises Caucus versus the classical liberals. It's a mess, and that's what's been hurting our party. So what is your message to people on how you guys could bring the party closer together and instead of further apart with messaging?
Well, we really need to concentrate on what's important for the party. What's important for the party isn't the fighting and control over the party. It's that the party is functioning so our candidates can run. If we're fighting so much that we can't run candidates, we are failing as a party. So we need to at least come together to that level to where we are able to run candidates together. My emphasis has been to not try to have any particular flavor of messaging at your state affiliate level or whatever. That if you want to have differences in messaging, let's try that out with the candidates, because the candidates are out there. They're going to get direct feedback from voters out there. You'll find out in the marketplace of ideas of what messaging works out there with individuals. Keep to the general. We have a very straightforward message of freedom as libertarians, that if we stay on that as the state affiliates, everybody can build off that platform, and those candidates out there in their different areas can tailor their message to their audience that's out there and focus on that. That's where I would like to see us focus in the future. Avoid fighting each other internally and be the platform that our candidates need us to be.
Okay, thank you.
I know Michael Heiss, he was removed, but there was a few things that they were doing, or his group, and I don't think he was Mises Caucus, but it was like defend the guard. It was something with having gold as the tender state, like something with the fiscal policy per state. And then there was something. Are we still doing anything with like defend the guard and things of that nature? Because you said you were in the service, correct? And what branch were you in?
I was in the Army.
Okay.
So
that's how you got to see Iraq. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you go to lp.org, if you go if you go to Libertarian Mission, that's like your first stop there. There's a button right there, Libertarian Mission. We are the party of principle, talks about, and then it talks about our electoral strategy, our activism strategy, our legislative strategy, recruitment strategy there. So talking about, running locally, and you'll see on there that defend the guard is part of our legislative strategy there. And Bitcoin is also on there. Cryptocurrency is also part of our legislative. And then the other one is Minds Medicine, talking about different type of psychedelics and freedom there for individuals that wish to try to be able to do so for their self-treatment there. So there's different legislative focuses, and those have been it. As far as electoral, still pushing that run locally, getting people just to put their foot into the water and to run for something. So those are some of the focuses there, and definitely defend the guard is still one of the focuses that are out there. You'll still see people pushing for that across different states, and that's all going to be dependent on what is currently working in your state. I have seen in a few different Discord chats of people talking about their success of talking before legislators about defend the guard there.
How do you feel that the infighting is going? Because it's bad. I mean, and I'm seeing it here on the local level, and throughout the last presidential campaign, it was atrocious. Are you feeling that it's getting better, or what type of pulse are you getting?
A lot of people are getting tired of it, and for myself, somebody started sending me some anonymous death threats last month, saying they're going to burn down my house. So there's always that. Some people have it very different experiences in the party as far as that goes. You know, technology is great, but it also allows for some people to be anonymous in ways that are not so nice to others. So that was not pleasant for my family. But as far as some other different areas, I would say, you know, when it's going to be very dependent on your state and all that, because some states are more of a monoculture of libertarianism than others. Some are very mixed. In my state, I would say any particular side is a minority of everybody, and the neutral is the largest portion of anyone out there. So we need to find a way to work together on what's important. And yes, that is still ongoing. I really want it to stop, and my solution to that it's been pretty much, you know, eventually it will wear off. But if I can, our party is small, and if I can suddenly double our numbers of just new recruits coming in, that'll be half the people that haven't had the trauma of fighting each other for years right now. Some people don't even remember what they're fighting over with other people right now, and it's pretty sad to see. But that's just where we are in some cases. I'm hoping that we can work past that. And, you know, if you feel like you can only take responsibility for yourself, you can't force somebody to take responsibility for others. So if you feel like, you know, if anyone feels like they've accidentally made somebody feel uncomfortable in the party, I suggest reaching out and saying, hey, I realize, you know, I've changed now. I want to be better with you. And let's bury the hatchet, try to talk things out, and maybe we can get back to where people are working together. There's always been factions in the party, but not to this level. And in some ways, we're reflecting of the culture outside of the party. We are our own microcosm of that, and our particular flavor of, you know, the culture war that goes on outside the party. And the more we can bury that and more focus on the core tenets that we all share, we all share 90% of everything together. Let's concentrate on that. Forget about the 10% where we disagree.
Right. And it's like we're hell bent on. I remember when I first joined, that was the big joke, was the libertarians would walk into a room and they would find the one thing to argue about. And that's the truth. I mean, I see it all the time, but it's been such a. I
hope that I can keep preaching it and bring it into existence. That we'll try to build that culture of tolerance with one another and working with one another, and that we can start burying some of these past grievances against one each other.
I do have a question about the LNC, just because I know when Angela McCardle was on there, she made it. I think it was her who made the comment that they hadn't spoken with the other members. Are you guys all speaking? I mean, y'all were all on speaking terms, right?
I speak with a large number of them, some more so than others.
Right.
And there has been some very recent, very public on the LNC list arguments that have gone on there. I did have one of those people that was in one of the arguments. I did have actually a wonderful conversation with one of them the other day. So I felt that was a very positive change. And I was feeling very down personally at that time until we had that great conversation together, and love that we were able to share that opportunity, because I was thinking some different things about the party at the time, and it really helped me. And then there's just other people that I work with at different times there. Like say Pat Ford is the chair of the Convention Oversight Committee. So I talk to him all the time on different decisions that he's making there, and try to give him feedback from different membership he's very good at taking criticism when I share with him, well, this is what these people think of these people and this people, and try to balance out so that we can do the best thing we can do for convention going forward. And we're very good about talking about that and not getting offended at each other, and figuring out where we can go and work together on things. And then so that's one positive side I've had with working with him there. And then there's just others that we need to work across the line at different things.
Okay. Yeah, because that just surprised me when she said that. And I know she's had her issues and that whatever, but you know, I'll let other people.
At that time when I was on the LNC, I didn't get talked to at all.
Okay. That was just wild to me. What are some, let me see, and hopefully you haven't answered. Is there any like big gains that y'all have seen that you can, like, I know what you got coming up, but have you seen finances start turning in the right direction, membership start growing? Has anything started some type of improvement that we can brag about?
Well, we got one max donation last month. We're going to get another one this month, I believe, is how that's going to turn out. We've seen some membership gains. Part of that is just figuring out the data there, but we're trying to slow the drop and bring people back. So we have seen some slowing in some areas. I'd like to see it completely stop in our loss there and get back to a positive gain. But we've also had some financial success in that we've had a couple max donations there and just some other large donations gone on. For example, when I talked about mailer, we did a direct mailer out to individuals that hadn't been contacted in a while, and we targeted very specifically. So we spent $3,000 on that mailer and got over $30,000 in return. I want to say it's closer to 39. So it was a pretty good return on investment for the LNC there, and gave us an experiment with how we can look at doing those mailers, and that even direct mailers today can be useful if you do the targeting right and you just aren't plastering it out to everybody, spending a lot of money on mailers to where people aren't going to give a return, where we can dial it in and we're like getting major return this time. So it's finding the right audience, and we're being smart about it. And so we've already had some success in being smart on our targeting and making sure we're bringing the message to the people the way they want to receive it.
Okay, that's excellent. Do you have any question?
I think you guys are doing a good job. You guys were handed something that was very broken. I hate the factionalism. You know, I dislike it. When I was chair in Virginia, I tried to work with everybody. I gave donations to all the caucuses that I had, because I just like, you know what, we're all trying to work together to get something done. I know Brian's the same way. You know, the factionalism got rough, and you know, when you get in a party, it's really odd because, like me, I was a Democrat when I came in. I was coming off being a Democrat. I become more right leaning, but there's Republicans that come more left leaning. I think that's one benefit of the Libertarian Party is you don't have to be a Democrat or Republican and have a good idea about individual liberty or LGBTQ or anything. And I think the message is, you know, we need to have more unity. I think the unity message, factions has to continue. And I think you guys are doing your best, because trust me, Virginia hasn't, you know, had a rough patch when 7 people tried to take the party down, and unfortunately did it illegally. We're still up and running. We're still alive. So
I remember hearing that of the night of, and was reaching out to people saying, please don't do this. This is the stupidest thing you can do here.
Those people did not care. They were out to destroy us. Unfortunately, I was sitting at a concert where I had a very minimal reception called Blue Ridge Rock Festival, deep in the woods, in an area of a racetrack. And when I got my stuff back, because I hardly have phone service, man, my phone was blowing. I was a past chair, and I was getting all this stuff about how they did that, and it's sad. Like, a lot of them went over to create a new party, which they think they're going to get somewhere with that. I don't think so.
So the Liberal Party is out there, and there's a lot of people that are former members that are in it. They try to scout members from me all the time. Some of them don't do that, so they're like, oh no, we don't do that. It's like, no, some of your members do that.
I'll give you an idea. A lot of those guys, a lot of those people that were in the 7 are over in that party, just to give you a heads up.
Yeah. So and they're out there, and for the, you know, as I see it, for the Liberal Party to succeed, we have to die, because then they need really to succeed, they need certain state affiliates from us to go over to them. So that puts our interest at a very different angle when you look at the different people that are currently in that party. So at times some of these people are former friends of mine, and you'll see me have an argument with them, unfortunately, due to the current circumstances, because I still think the Libertarian Party is the party for freedom and where we should be working to have a better future together. I did not go over to the Liberal Party. That this is where we're getting it done. And there's something very special in the Libertarian Party of we have existed this long, and we have ballot access in different states. Some of these states, some states need to be accomplished all the time, and some states pretty much have it permanently. And if we lose it there, we won't get it back. The other two parties have pulled up those ballot access moats, as it were, out there, or gates, or whatever you want to think about it out there. If we lose ballot access in those states, it won't come back, and then we'll be relegated to only being the occasional sparks, say the Greens are, where they'll do terrible, something will change, they'll do okayish, but they're not in a position to become a real threat to the two other parties. We are still in a position where we can make this party a threat to the Republicans and Democrats out there. We still have what it takes within the party to do that. And so those individuals out there that are trying to form that other party, I would just, please, if that's what you want to do, just please leave us alone here. We're trying to build up our own, keep doing our own thing in the Libertarian Party. And I know there's a lot of contention between people that are on that side too. And I wish it weren't the case.
Talking about the presidential, one of the things that a lot of the people that I know, they always say that we should somehow nominate our presidential candidate earlier. Has there ever been any, and I know that that's one of the discussions. Is there anything that y'all have talked about?
Yeah, that was actually recently voted on. So in September, we voted on for the 2028 National Convention. Will be in February, President's Day weekend.
That was something we discussed I actually had to fill in for Brian here on I've been a CD chair, but he had to work, so I filled in for him, and that was one of the things we talked about. And a lot of us here in Virginia were excited with the idea, if we get that February, we can get candidates quicker, we can do things better and get things started up a lot quicker. And with our ballot access and being able to get signatures by June, it's a lot easier. We know who our presidential nominee is 3 months earlier than 3 months later.
Yeah,
so it'll be helpful.
That is a critical window for a lot of states. We know there's going to be technical difficulties to overcome with doing it that much earlier. Some states are going to have to change their bylaws to account for having an earlier selection process, change their cycle of when their conventions are for delegate selection. But it was decided by the LNC after consultation with many state chairs, many state committees. I reached out personally to all 50 state chairs there, and I think I got a hold of around 47 or 48 of them, at least getting a message out to them individually there about where we needed to go as far as timelines there. The biggest concern that made sense to me that was given out there was just that February's tough travel time for some of the northern states there. So we'll have to also account for that. What do we do in the case of a snow-in in, say, one of the northern states there? But other states, some of those ones, it's like, well, as long as they can travel, they'll be happy to get out of their state and go to somewhere warmer if we're doing it in a more southern location for some of them. So there is always that too. I've been pushing for Dallas, Texas for that particular convention with me out here in Texas, just because Dallas is a very economical place for everybody to travel to, being a hub for many airlines out there, and also in a good location for not having as severe of weather as, say, some of those more northern places.
I'll give an occasional ice storm, but I mean, I'm a consultant meteorologist, so I just know that. But yeah, Texas is definitely a good spot. Florida, Louisiana, somewhere where it's not gonna freeze.
Atlanta, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's good. I'm glad to hear that that's how it's going to be done this upcoming.
Yeah, we unanimously, because he wasn't in the meeting, but we unanimously asked our chair to push February, and we voted on it. It was a unanimous vote for February, for her to come back to you guys to say that. So I'm very happy it's been moved to February. It's going to help us out in Virginia, I know, at least a lot. So
I'm excited to hear if it really helps the way we think it will for ballot access in a lot of states, to make that a lot cheaper for you to get your candidates on the ballot there. Because you'll be able to.
And then people ask, who's your candidate? And we can't tell them when we're trying to collect signatures. Like, we have to have an convention first. So then we'll know who the person is in February, and we'll know, who to tell them that we have running. So it's going to be easier to collect signatures in that aspect, because we'll have somebody. This is our president and vice presidential nominee. This is a book about them, and it's going to make everything easier. Here, at least, it will make things so much easier, because it's a lot of work to try to get this, especially people to sign when they don't know who the candidate is. We can't tell them who the candidate is. So
yeah, when you can circulate for the actual candidate for the petition, that is so much better.
Absolutely.
Builds up that name recognition already for you to be able to get those votes out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, what's your plan for 2026? Do you think you're going to try to stay at the vice chair position? Are you going to?
No. People ask me that.
Okay. I feel I don't on a state level, so I feel you at national. I can almost understand where you're coming from. So.
No, I don't. I don't want to run for vice chair. The only way I would run for something like that is if everybody noticed the first person and they're like, Paul, you're the only person that people can agree on here. Type of that has happened in the party before.
Right.
So please find somebody that is qualified to do it. That is not me. I've been sacrificing a lot for the party. So since I came in February, I started everyday office hours of 4 to 10 every day. So I get off of work, and I've been doing like 3 to 4 meetings for the party, doing different phone calls, working through different emails, stuff like that. So I've been doing, 30 to 40 hours, counting whatever I do on the weekend with other stuff on average. And so that's been a big sacrifice for my family. When the other day and my kids were like, we miss you, Dad, that really hurt me. And so I've been stepping back a little bit lately, just so that I'm not burning out my family so much lately. But I'm still trying to make sure things are fixed for the party. But I can't keep to that same level. The party needed me to do that for a little bit, just because things have been so broken, and to get things where I feel we're at a better spot here. But I can't make that sacrifice for my family like that for that long anymore, and I need somebody else to step up at that point. I'm debating if they'll want to have me be at large or something like that. If I did that, I'd have a please vote for somebody else unless everybody else sucks type of slogan going on, because the as long as the parody project continues on in the future, that's the big baby that I want to have continue on, because I think that is going to be transformational for the party. But if people aren't bought into that, it's like, well, I could do that, but I'm not going to invest the same level. I'd like to come back to my state of Texas and do more in Texas again, and focus more locally if I can, with people that, even when I disagree with people here, as not, I've never had death threats from people in my own state party where I get that at national, and that's a whole different animal, and has been a very difficult experience for myself and my family.
What's this, Brian? You want to be vice chair?
No. Well, I hope you stay safe. I hope everything,
That's rough.
Yeah. I mean, look. I remember I asked Larry Sharp once. I said, "What?" I said, "Why don't you be national chair?" And he was like, "I don't want to be that. You don't get paid for it." He's like, "I'm going to support whoever will do it. I'm supporting them." And I said, "Well, hey, fair enough, man, because you're doing a thankless job." Yeah. And like me and Dean have been doing this for a long time, and
thank you, gentlemen.
they always will tell you what you should be doing it, but they don't want to come out and help you do it, or they don't want to give you the money to do it. I'll just throw money down in my basement. So
I had it tough. The years I had started off as secretary, then our chair Nick, he had medical or something, and the vice chair took over, because it automatically does. Then I ran for vice chair and got that so I could help him out. And then on election day, he goes, I'm quitting your chair as of 12 o'clock tonight. So and then I have people, threats. I never had death threats, but I've had threats at me. I understand people can get angry, even at a state level. So it's horrible. But see, the thing is, I called out the people. Those 7 people, I called a couple of them out. They were attacking me during my chairmanship, and I called them out for who they were. But I had made a promise, and I always am principled, that I would not run for chair when it came up again. And I stayed to my promise. I think about it now, maybe I should have, but I can't think of what happened. But then, that's what happened when that group took over after I was out of there. But COVID time was rough, because you had all the things closed and meetings were online, and it just made things much more rough. But you're doing a thankless job, something that's very difficult, and I appreciate it. As a member, as an officer, past officer in the party, as a past chair, I'm appreciative of what you're doing.
Yeah. Do you have any final things that you would like to put out there? I think we're at 47 minutes. I don't have any more questions. There's no questions on the screen.
Well, if any of your members have let their membership lapse to national, please come back and you can join, and you'll help out build a delegation for you all to come out to national convention. And and I mentioned the website earlier, if you haven't gotten your hotel, you can reserve it now, and they won't charge you until right before you get there. So I've already held my spot for my hotel room. And there's spots for upgrades that are really cheap if you really look at what you're getting for some of those suite upgrades and all that. So if you do want to, be fancy, get that suite upgrade right now. I've been considering it, waiting on to see if anyone else, there's like a junior suite that's right now for $395, and it's like, well, that over that period of time, that's actually a nice upgrade for when you put it over that many days, for what you get there. So people that are into that sort of thing, there's that. So get your memberships, get your rooms, please. And be nice to one another. Let's bury these hatchets. Let's work together, and let's build the party together. Amen.
All right, that sounds good. Well, thank you so much for speaking to us, and we look forward to seeing you in Grand Rapids, and if not sooner, at some point. All right, my friend. Talk to you later.
Thank you very much.
Have a good night.
Have a good one.
All right. Thank you, Paul Darr, for joining us at the Roanoke Valley Libertarian meeting. Just a reminder, everyone, go to MaximumLibertarian.com. That's how you'll be able to find out everything that's going on. You're also going to find out who upcoming guests are, where you're always going to be able to be part of the conversation, because you can join us on X, and you can go to YouTube. And so until next time, my friends, remember, only you can be the change. Liberty's not free. Be free and all that good stuff. So stay smooth. How's that? Later.